Hey everybody, welcome to the Crossover Cinema Podcast. We're here reviewing film, series, media releases. My name is Carlo.
And I'm Kaya, y'all. You already know we're reviewing the latest episode of The Penguin, Ep.3. With this latest episode, we've got a lot going on between Sophia and Oz as they finally team up to usurp the Falcone crime family and start their corporate restructuring through their new drug Bliss. Along with that, we got Victor's origin story and his really tragic past, and I think clear developments on his and Oz's relationship and what it means for the future of the show. And at the same time, we've got some crazy cliffhangers now that Sophia's been taken by the Maronis, and let's just say Penguin might have been found out. But before we get into that, we've got to start with another DC property that released this week, Joker 2, starring Joaquin Phoenix, Lady Gaga, directed by Todd Phillips. Carlo, what's your thoughts on that?
Real quick, before we start with the Penguin, let's talk about it. Just a little
mini review,
on that one.
Quickie, real talk.
Mini. Seriously, wasn't my cup of tea. The musical wasn't it for me. It was okay. I'm not in the person that hated it that much. I know there's a lot of hate around that movie. For me, it was it was okay. I think that we're gonna see a bigger part of that movie play in the future, maybe in Broadway or something like that, later. But right now, how it received is not gonna work. I get it, but it's the only DC and Batman kind of genre in that kind of way that we could imagine maybe doing something somewhere in the future. So I know it's a little controversy right now. Everybody hates it, but Beetlejuice, it took time, man. And even I don't know, there's a lot of shows like that at the beginning it wasn't what people wanted, but after a while we watch it with another eye and it was maybe okay. I'm not sure it was that arch, but I get what you're saying. But for me, it wasn't it. That's for sure. I don't know for you, Kaya.
For me, there's a couple levels to it real quick. I think Joaquin continues to deliver a good performance as Arthur Fleck, but it feels like this script just was all over the place. They saw the first film and they're we can do a deconstruction of that through a sequel and really tear down his character and explore his psyche. But it's almost like every character in this movie is underserved, including Arthur Fleck. Lady Gaga as Harleen Quinzel, you could tell that they have ideas for her. This pathological liar background. She's still got the psychologist background. There's so many aspects to it, the way she manipulates art. But it just ultimately falls flat. And a movie like this, with this kind of talent, with this angle, a musical, I just feel like it has no right to be boring, and it's so goddamn boring.
It was pretty long.
Way too long, and it just...
And I know we got our little difference, because I was really sure that Lady Gaga was there more than 33 minutes. But no, you're right. Everybody says that it's 33, and I'm not going to start to count every second.
It's really when you break it down. It's really
but I had the impression she was there the whole movie. I didn't saw it like that.
She's sprinkled throughout enough. That's for sure. But I think at the end of the day, it just ultimately doesn't come together. It's just a big mess of a soup, a gigantic stew that just has all the weirdest parts. But ultimately at the end of the day, I do hope this movie doesn't tank her career in film. I think she's a really talented actress, and I think she just needs to be better served by better material and writers who want to give her the breath to work within the genre.
I think she's okay. Seriously, she did really good on other kind of films. We know her range.
Yeah, this is true.
Lady Gaga is gonna be okay on this. Let's go
right into the Penguin.
What everybody's here for. Let's go with the Penguin, Episode 3. I just want to start with Vic, bro. Let's start with Vic. It was a complete episode about Vic. Well, not complete, but we see what happened in his past. What happened before he had a lover. We saw him almost wanted to go and reach out and start a new life.
Some real normalcy happened, there, just a niceness to his life that we got to see through you know, family and friends and, you know, the tension of, you know, being a teenager and wanting to go hang out with your friends and there's bad influences around. And I really feel like they wanted us to not only empathize with him like we have been, but to really just understand where he's coming from on so many levels. And I feel like the pain and trauma he's suffering from, it's moving. Like I was definitely, I was moved multiple times this episode, and I feel like Victor is the heart of this show in a way that it's almost like he's the normie of this show. He's the regular, more passive kind of character. Things happen to him. He doesn't have agency. And
well, with his past, he's really like in the normie. He wasn't in the crime, or
exactly.
He wasn't like, his parents was like workers. We saw that all in that episode. So for sure, like you're saying, like
we got to
like
see
us that in that world.
Yeah,
man.
It really and truly, the viewer kind of gets that feeling where they can relate in terms of like not wanting to kind of be embroiled in this really intense life and just not having that security. You know, like what he was saying to his father, that he wanted his father to, you know, be respected and to be appreciated for what he brings and, you know, to get the money he deserves. And I think that money, the material, is such an important part of what the narrative is trying to establish. Like, how important is that? You know, for Oz, it's on a high level. It's all about the material, you know. For Sophia, it's the family and being respected and, you know, clearing her name. And then for Victor, it's almost just finding his way in this, like, smorgasbord of everything, you know, just finding his path.
Yeah, well, he needs to find a new path with a new life, with everything, and that's what he decided almost to do. Well, he did that last like little thing with the car at the end, that he went and saved Oswald, but I don't know if it was supposed to be like that. I don't know if it was just,
I feel like
he saw them and the plan changed, I suppose.
I think it's a twofer. I think he's going there to, you know, see her off and to still kind of be with her in that moment, even if she doesn't know it, you know, Graciela. But I think at the same time, it's also like he feels a commitment to Oz, you know, and like it was like almost Oz pushing him away was a test in and of itself, you know. Are you really going to leave me? You know, and when push came to shove, he's right there with that car ramming that Maroney, you know, thug right into the whip. That was badass.
Yeah, and how he did it was very like interesting. Like how we saw him bleed with the airbag that went like hit him and everything. Like it wasn't like that I was expecting it, but we saw a kind of, like you say, a normie kind of way that what would happen if I would do it, or
just drive the car super fast, you know, just do it. Pedal to the metal. Like I feel like that's something that we got a lot of this episode, a lot of like just like the drive being there for multiple characters, you know, like especially for Sophia. I think Sophia, this episode really is taking shape as a leader, you know, and putting Oz in his place in a way that it's almost like it makes him uncomfortable, but you can tell he's used to it. Like it's almost like this is just a par for the course of being, you know, low in the Falcone family and not being as revered or as respected as he wants to be. Just like what Johnny Beatty was saying to him, it's all true. You know, that nobody trusts him, you know, especially Sophia.
Especially Sophia. But let's talk about Sophia and Oswald, because in the next episode, like we thought they would have been like together for a while doing that partnership, but I'm pretty sure that partnership is done right now in that episode.
I don't want to say done. I think that it's just going to, I think all that this show has shown is that every new development is another complication on things. It's like, you know, Sophia's too in deep with Penguin. There's no way for her to atone. She's already made the plans to, you know, start a coup within her own family. And I feel like even if she finds out that he's the one who killed Alberto, it's still kind of like, it's almost like it's just too far in. Yeah, you might end up wanting to kill Penguin and, you know, malign him and, you know, destroy his family or, you know, kill his girlfriend or whatever. But it's like she just can't get rid of him. Like he's a necessity. Like he's like this like disease that's almost like just important to the way things are going to function if she's ever going to have the grasp over the family and the crime that she wants, you know. And Bliss is a big part of that. I think the drug operation clearly not just being something that Alberto set up, and it stemming from the fact that she was in Arkham. And I don't know what his name was exactly. They made a mention of it, but the guy who was making the drug had a name in relation to plants and planting plants, and the name Bliss and the fact that it came from Arkham. I feel like we're getting the beginnings of Poison Ivy here. I think we're clearly leaning into.
I didn't see it like that, but I think you're right, bro.
I think that we're gonna see that because the drug comes from Arkham. That I think it has to do a little bit with Pamela Isley, the fact that it's grown from fungi, that there's a blissfulness that's like almost like a surrender that she talked about feeling, when she was in Arkham getting the drug. And I feel like that's not too different from what Poison Ivy already does to her victims. So I'm really excited to see if they explore that.
And Bliss is red. I don't know. There's a lot, like, I could go a lot and do some theories. I think I'm okay with your theory.
Yeah, they're laying the groundwork for it 100% to expand that Batman universe.
And I forgot that we're almost like in that universe. What I mean is we're just with Penguin, and I got used to Penguin, and I'm like, I don't expect to see nobody else right now, so it would be a nice ad. Like, and the pace on it is very good. Like, it's very fast. Every episode goes really quick. They keep that pace that
they add more and more every single time you think that there's about to be this like let up, like everything. For example, this episode's going to end. Sophia and Oz are good. The business is made, and then we'll start next episode with whatever happens, right? And then, bam, Sheree Agladouche to pop up and be like, "Hey, yo, my voice and me and my hard bodiness, we're here and we're ready to go." You know what I'm saying? And Oz, you snake,
And she didn't say enough stuff when she was in front of Sophia that Sophia will know everything, but she will understand that something's happening. So it's so good how, like,
I think they're going to explore that next episode 100%. Like, I feel like that's going to be an advantage that Mrs. Maroney has. She's going to be able to be in that position where it's like, yeah, you know what? Did you know what he did? And it's just gonna be juicy. I'm
and
we
really
still
got every episode. We still got the two together, that like a Vic and Oswald are like a father-kid kind of relationship,
a dynamic duo.
Yeah, and we get it back every episode. So now I'm like expecting it at every episode. You know what I mean?
Yep. Like a moment for them, like that supper.
A moment,
that supper was a good example of that.
Yeah, exactly, man. No, it was a great episode. I hope you guys liked it too. Thank you guys being there. We're on the Crossover Cinema Podcast. See you guys next time.
Yes, sirs. It's always a pleasure to have you guys. And on the next episode of Penguin, stay tuned, y'all. Stay tuned, okay? Have a good one.
See you guys.